Before I go any further, two disclaimers. As she has said, I am a menopause advocate. I am an author of a book, also based on my experience. So if you see me sweating, it's not because I'm nervous or anything. I'm just getting a personal summer, which is a hot flash. That is why I always have my fan with me, so please bear with me. And also, if you think that my brain is buffering and I don't know what I am saying, it's because we do go through brain fog, which is almost like a disconnect between the brain and the mouth. You know what you want to say, but it does not come out. Remember your go-goes when she's trying to call someone and you come, she's like, no, not you, the other one, because the mind, it just goes through the zone of forgetting certain things. And having said that, I'm not speaking under the cap of a menopause advocate or as an author. I'm speaking as a creative. Years ago, I was working as a flight attendant, traveling the world, living my best life and all of that. And as a flight attendant, we've got so much time in between traveling and doing all of the things. I enrolled for a course on image and lifestyle management. And we started it with my friend. It was a beautiful company. And one of the services that we offered was personal shopping. And our clients will sometimes ask us, like, you guys, instead of taking us to all these shops that we do not know who the owners are, how about we shop from you? And I was like, oh, okay, we hear you, but we don't know what we can offer. I started bringing clothes from my travels and we will sell to our clients. And I started traveling to Africa. Then I started seeing the beautiful fabrics and all of that. And I'm like, hey, this is the answer, actually. An African print clothing line. Not for traditional weddings, because normally as Black people, we think African print clothing is for traditional weddings. When you see a man wearing a shirt, you're like, where's the matching female in the room? You know that there's supposed to be a wife. So I'm like, I want simple, everyday kind of clothing that says that we are Africans every day, we are vibrant people, we are colorful people. And now the question was, how are we gonna get this clothing line going? Because girl, even in school, I never did home economics. I did not know how to sew to save my life. Thus began the homework that if you're gonna do this, what are you gonna do? And the small blunder happened. I don't know how to sew. Then I was told, no, you can get people to do the designs for you. Whenever you buy the fabric and then you take the clothes to them. All right, buy the fabrics from Accra, excited. And went to North. You know North was in Joburg. This PTPT around there, the mission to park and all of that. But we're excited with my friend because we've been told that there's a guy in one of the buildings there. No lifts, nothing. Excitement takes us up. We explain that this is what we want. Guys like, sure, I'll do it. Leave the fabrics with him, pay the deposit. On the agreed upon day, we come back. You know when a person looks at you and they're trying to remember which one is your design? Because they did not really work on it. So it's not done. So they're scratching and you're trying to say, yeah, that's my fabric. That's that. And when he gave me the clothes and I was like, you know what, this is not it. But because of integrity, I had to pay him the full amount so that he does not say that I came to knock him. Because, I did the garments for this girl. And then now she's coming up with the stories to say that they are not worthwhile. Paid him because I was like, it's either cry or laugh. Then I chose to laugh, kept it moving. Continued doing my homework, and I eventually found a guy here in Pretoria North. I stay in Kempton Park. Explained my plan to him. I'm fussy, attention to detail, but one thing that I'm not gonna make you struggle with is paying you on time. He agreed. We started working on the samples. I was happy with his work. Thus began the clothing line now. I'm still flying, so on my days off, I land, change, come to Pretoria North. Then the behind the scenes now, the labels and all of that. Then eventually the clothing line is ready and I've been wearing my samples and I'm getting the nice compliments. It's like, girl, you're looking good. And should I say or shouldn't I say it? I don't know, I'm not gonna say yet. Then clothing line is ready and now we need to launch. Then now the self-doubt happens. It's like, can I really pull this off? Because Xoli has never. Then suddenly, the society, the noisemakers that always have something to say will be like, who is she to think that she's going to come up with a clothing line? Sitting in London, I'm like, I've been sitting with this clothing line for quite a while now. Let me booby trap myself. And I think it's one of the best things that I ever learned in life, booby trap yourself. I got online, created a flyer. You are invited to a launch on this day. Left it like that. People started RSVPing. There's no venue. There's nothing. And I spoke to my friend. I'm like, actually, can I use your backyard? And she's like, fine. Then my menu, what are we going to do? Figured it out. And then came the Saturday. The weather was beautiful. Had made my own structure. I went to Stewart and Lloyd's to buy steel rods and everything. Because, when you don't have a man also, everything is looking at you. You walk in aisles and places where they can possibly knock you because you don't know much, you're a woman. The rails were so abnormally high. We had to make a plan to make sure that everything though happens on the day. People flocked in. I don't have a speed point. How are people gonna pay for these garments? I'm gonna operate on faith. These are the banking details. Sales went so well, I got into 5 digits in one afternoon. Excited, I'm like, Lord, I see you. I'm on the right track. And then I continued juggling the clothing line and the flying. And at some point, opportunities started coming to showcase in certain places. And if you work in corporate, that they hardly cater for creatives. Normally, there'll be study leave for the academics. But when it comes to creatives, you either have to come up with a story why you cannot make it to work. And I'm like, I'm not going to come up with stories. Next thing, there's an article or there's a post, and Xoli said that she's sick. There she is showcasing. So I had to go sit with my manager to say that, some of us are here, we've got dreams, we've got goals. Life does not end in the airline, and we're not academics. There is nothing that caters for us. How do I? And she's like, every time that you're going to need time off, let me know. Then I'll make sure that I give you proper leave instead of using your sick days. And that affirmed in me that you don't have to wait for other people to be doing things or to make certain changes wherever you are. You need to be able to speak up for yourself so that you can be that change that everybody else is struggling maybe with. Because some people can bake mean cakes, but then they can't let the company know that actually for your next event, let me be the one that brings the muffins that we had earlier and all of that. And then things continued. And the blunders continued happening also on the same scale, like you're driven by passion. You want to showcase at this place, you get there. They've told you that the venue's conducive to have clothes. And then the chef is there, he's frying food, the smoke is going on, your clothes are getting the whole oil smell and everything. And then you learn that, not every opportunity needs a yes. You need to be able to ask questions. Where are we going to be showcasing? Is there fitting rooms? Because some people don't want to be going to the bathroom or get makeshift fabric to cover for them. Because also how you position your range it needs to appeal to your target market. So I knew who my target market was. That is why also when it came to pricing, I was unapologetic. Because I'm like, you can go get somebody else to make it for you with that one-ply fabric that is just my fabrics. I know that you can wash it. You will wash it. You will wash it. It's proper. The finishings, you're not going to get some teka-taking lining showing under that you're going to have to get home and fix and all of that. The zips is proper zips. And obviously, integrity also gets tested a lot because sometimes, because as I grew, I had to outsource to CMTs. I don't know whether you know what CMTs, but it's organizations that cut, trim, and make. Then they do the work for you on a bigger scale. With them having learned from the experience, I had to do my due diligence. But still, there will be certain mishaps also. They will buy zips that are not up to standard. And you've put out there that I'm showcasing on this day. And then now integrity is like, the zips are poor quality. Are you showcasing? Are you putting this away to be fixed or what? And I've learned to live my truth. I will say that as much as the showcase was to include this and that, but I've taken certain things out because I need you to get your money's worth. And that, in hindsight, also gave me a cushioning, because then if my clothes had a defect, then my clients were so quick to be understanding, because they knew that I operated from a place of proper finishings and all of that. Then 2018, a year into it, I decided that I don't want to treat it as a hobby anymore. I need to give it the undivided attention that it needed. Decisions had to be made. It was not an easy decision. And during that time, I was also transitioning into menopause also. So, it came with its own struggle. And I felt like I could no longer be up in the sky and be juggling all of that and put up with certain issues at work, because there was no menopause policy and all. I eventually resigned. The most liberating day it was for me. Everybody that has had to resign from corporate knows how it feels when you finally tender that resignation. And even when they try to convince you and you're like, no, I am done. This is it. Knocked off from that last flight, changed. I had a showcase that day. It felt so good. I was energized. I was not tired, because I felt like I'm finally stepping to what I had been working towards. 2018, 2019, 2020, COVID happened. And it's like I did not have any other source of income. That was the only source of income that I had at that time, because I had told myself that I want to focus on this. The image consulting company had put it on hold. And then I had to pivot. It's like, Lord, people are staying at home. People are not dressing in this, because you can't wear this and sit at home. You want something that is comfortable. What are we going to do? Thought about it. Okay, fine, loungewear, like nicer tracksuit with the logo in front and all of that. Then it worked. Pushed it. And 2021, The Voice. I always listen to The Voice. The Voice said to me, it's time to write the book. Like, why? Why now? It's like, okay, I put a notice. Indigenously is going on a hiatus. I'll be back. I didn't give no reason. Then I started writing only in March 2022. As I was writing March, then 25th of May, Africa Day, I'm woken up by messages. Everybody's like, did you see there is this clothing line and they've got the brand like yours, like the logo is like yours. Like logo like mine? I look at it, it's almost like to the T exactly like mine. And I almost still get emotional, because you get connected to your logo, the work that goes to it. It's your identity that speaks for you. And I'm like, but how? Who is this person? Where are they from? Then I start checking. And she's based in New York, but she's South African. And I'm like, I'm going to have to speak to her to understand, because now we cannot be having this confusion, because my clients now are like, what is this? And also I do not have answers. I sent a message, and she took a while to respond because of the time difference. And then eventually she says to me, actually, I've always had this logo. I'm like, no, but I've checked. Like, I went to a profile, then I looked, like, your logo used to be like this. And she's like, no, I had it, but I was not using it. And my uncle created it for me, so we kept it. We only started using it now. I'm like, okay, so she feels entitled to a logo. I feel entitled to my logo, and my people are also contacting their lawyer friends to find out that how do you get out of this? Because with our previous company, the Image and Lifestyle company, our logo was so beautiful. People would always say trademark it. We did, and there was nothing that we ever came across. So with my personal one, I never thought to trademark it, because I've never had any experience. And the lawyer says, you know what? You can't trademark it or fight her right now, because he did not trademark it in time. And she's coming up with her own story. And it's got that fingerprint. I think you might have seen, normally it's the thumbprint that they use for so many different things out there. So mine is in an African map, and then it's got some colors. She's got also almost similar colors, but it's a bit elongated. And the lawyer's like, it's gonna cost you money, as you were saying. They charge you to just flip through files every day and all of that. And I'm like, what do I do in this case? She was adamant that, you know what, it's a logo. She's entitled to it. And I'm like, it's pointless to fight her. So I learned a very sad lesson, because now I'm in the process of resuming my clothing line later this year. Then I had to make a decision, like, you trademark it, you change it, what do you want to do? Because you've paid your dues, people know you as this. Is rebranding worth it or what? And I was like, but why don't we speak about these nitty-gritties, the technicalities that are behind the scenes when it comes to logos? Because they do cause a confusion. I mean, I think some of us, you've gone to the store and you take something and you're like, no, but it's not it. It looks similar, the brand, the colors, but it's not exactly the same thing. And right now, I've decided that I'm going to come back, use the same logo, and operate from the place of faith that our offering is going to separate us from what we do. Because, I mean, not to talk down on that brand, but when I look at it, like, you can see that at the end of the day, we are targeting different markets. And then you also add things like your CIPC. We hardly know that we need to be paying and making sure that our behind the scenes, even with them, is up to date, up until sometimes you need to print and send something. And then when you try to download, it's like the company is almost at the point of deregistration. And that is especially if you're running a one-person show. It happened when I was in my early days. I was an octopus, which is demanding. And also as creatives, we don't like admin much. We want to create. We want to create as writers. Like, you want to write. You want to show up and speak about the subject that you've written about. And as one grows, then you understand the importance of having the right systems, the right the right skills, the right everything, so that you focus on what you need to focus on. And if it means that you outsource, because that's what I did when I realized some of the technicalities, then I would outsource. Like, I'm not employing you, because if I employ you, then I need to pay you every month. Then I pay you as pay what you are offering me. Even with the CMT and the guy that I started with, I was like, you know what, I travel too often. I cannot be paying you a salary, because the moment I leave, then you take somebody else's orders, you work on them, and then when I come back, you haven't produced much for me. And that also brought a whole load off my mind, because then I did not have to incur those costs. And then as I continued, then it's like the pandemic and everything has been over. Brick and mortar store or online. And I went, found the spot, got the contracts and everything, excited, also took my friend, how's the space gonna look, and. Because we're quick to want to focus on the visual, on what is out there versus what is at the back. And God being God, when I was going through the contract, some of the terms and conditions that I saw there, I was like, no, I'm not gonna get into the space. They were having things like their charity organizations that they're affiliated with. And then when I checked, I was like, no, but it's lily-white charity organizations that they're supporting. I was like, do we have an input when it comes to that? And they're like, no, the center decides who benefits. Then I'm like, and then you say that you've got in December some Iceland, whatever. I was like, why? We're in Africa, Iceland, and who's going to be coming this? Like, where is the black person benefiting in all of this money that we're supposed to be paying to include it with this rent? And they could not give me answers. Then I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take up the space, because then even when it comes to the social aspect of it, it does not cater for my people. And they try to make threats, obviously, to say that, but you've already, we've drawn up the lease agreement. And I was like, but I haven't signed it. So imagine if I had signed it and had not read it also, and that's when you find yourself stuck with bills, debts that could have been avoided, I guess, if one could have taken a bit of time to really go through the T's and C's. But sometimes ego, as Gavin said, is like, I've got a shop. Because people are always asking, where do we get the clothes? Then it's, oh, my shop is at. But what is happening behind the scenes? So I am glad that I was saved from that blunder, because it was just like I was there. I was ready to sign. And the importance also of not keeping everything, your cards too close to your chest. Because as Black people, we've been taught that don't tell them, don't mention your moves, surprise them. But sometimes that's when we make mistakes, because we're not sharing with people that could have guided us. That actually you are heading the wrong way. You're gonna trip and fall, and recovering from this is not gonna be worthwhile. So it's important for us to find the right people to speak to guide us, to direct us. Because I always say, what is deposited in you, what is meant for you, nobody else can take it from. We can create the same, exactly this overall that I'm wearing. But people will choose who they want to buy from, because it's not just also about the garment, but it's the values and do they connect with you and all and all. And how am I doing with time? I talk too much. I'm an author and all of that. So we are very descriptive and we go. So I needed that guidance. So as I'm about to return, I think I've learned so much. And I am ready, because some of us, we did not go to get qualifications to navigate business. We winged it. We figured it out as we are going along. And I am grateful for platforms like this, because then it's not about window dressing. It's not about sugarcoating. It's not about PR, because that's how most businesses operate. They always want to show you the glitz, the gloss, and all of that, and nobody wants to tell you what the behind the scenes is like. For example, things like when I stopped flying, how was I supposed to get the fabrics that I normally would bring from Ghana? I had to check with DHL, and the prices were so exorbitant. And I knew that it was not going to make sense to price my garments the way that, because I needed to make profits at the end of the day. I mean, you factor the cost of everything, from the label, the price tag, the paper bags, because all those things, they speak for you. I remember one time I showed up at a pop-up and I did not have branded paper bags. And that lady was so disappointed because they were plain. She's like, I've been waiting to have an indigenously branded bag, and the day that I come to buy, it's not there. And then I learned that it is important to always maintain the standards, always make sure that the little things are taken care of. You hardly go to the W store or the blue and white store and they give you a plain paper bag, because they also understand the power that comes with that subtle promotion, affiliation with the brand, its values, and all of that. And yes, it is time to mic drop. I hope that you found value in my backstory.
Xoli, thank you so much. Wow. For me, the key takeaway from you sharing your journey is your strong value proposition around quality.
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, the first few guys that you worked with did not have that standard of quality, and you kept looking for suppliers that would deliver on that. And even the last thing that you just said now, having that paper bag and maintaining the standard, right? So important. And so everyone in the room, I think how you stay in the game long term is making sure that your value proposition is so compelling that people will call you and tell you that there's some girl in New York that is trying to rip off your brand, right? Have a very, very strong value proposition.
And they're ready for me. They've been asking, when are you coming back? We
Right.
can't wait to get, and that's like, it's comforting to know that there's people waiting for me, because sometimes when you've been gone, you don't know how you're going to be received.
When you come back.
Yeah.
And I can see the value proposition.
Thank you.
And then the second thing is what you also say towards the end is to take care of the little details, especially as creative entrepreneurs, because most of us don't like admin. But make sure that you take care of your compliance issues, right? Your CIPCs and your SARs. Make sure that those boxes are ticked. And even from a legal perspective, as you're launching your brand, look at your intellectual property around your brand and look at what it is that you can trademark. Very, very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you.